Hi folks, I'm Richard Friedman and welcome to my political cartoon countdown for March 27th, 2021. Well, we're knocking off another month and pretty soon it's going to be April. So we're heading there, we're heading towards summertime. So let's hang in there, folks. Here's my, basically every week we get together and we do my political cartoon countdown based upon reactions on Twitter. And the most popular cartoons leading up to number one of the week, the one most popular. And basically, this is what we do, and I'd like to get started with that. And before we get started here, I just want to tell you a little bit about my my book, my latest book here. And I'll show you a few sample cartoons from it. Here is, I'm just picking this out randomly. You know, here was something, an interesting one I did. Yeah, this was Trump's future coronavirus doctor after his pro-hydroxychloroquine doctor claimed many kinds of illnesses are caused by having sex with demons. So there was a doctor who said that. So here's the doctor, basically, in a fictionalized version. Young people are most always immune from the coronavirus because of their very powerful immune systems. I say almost always because our American schools have been invaded by alien witches and demons who carry a coronavirus that can infect the young. These young demons can appear as male or female. Now I hear some young demons who went to a Georgia sleepaway camp for the summer transmitted the virus. So it's just a little sardonic humor on all that we've been through with all the prior hoaxes until we got to the vaccines that are working and are effective. So it's a little bit of a, but it's a kind of, it's humor here. Here we have, just to go through it with you. This was an interesting one I did about a coronavirus family taking off on a plane. They're going together here, and here's the coronavirus family catches a plane to Tulsa, Oklahoma. There'll be a big rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, big Trump rally. So they want to get on the plane and get there pretty quickly. Following Trump announcing his first resumed rallies will be held there, and attendees must click or register agreeing to not to hold Donald J. Trump or any affiliates liable for any illness or injury. So if they get sick or something like that, then you have to sign, you sign your J. Hancock, and that means you can't sue the Trump organization, the Trump campaign. So here they are. Here they're boarding a plane, very anxious to get to Tulsa. A nice coronavirus family here, and they say here, this is the husband talking to the wife, and he is the little baby coronavirus, Don't worry, honey. This contract holds Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated liable for the killing of any member of the coronavirus family from toxic bleach sprays. So they're saying, so they're talking about, they were worried about the toxic bleach sprays that might be waiting for them there. Don't worry, okay? So then the one says, what if he activates Bill Barr? And that's the thing here. And the thing here was that there was that was what they were talking about there back then. So Trump was talking about, I remember that, he was talking about activating Bill Barr to take care of a lot of things. He was going to deal with a lot of stuff. Bill Barr, Trump, that was like Trump's right-hand man there for a while, Bill Barr, and he was always threatening to activate Bill Barr in case of any disaster. So that's how, so he says, what if, they're talking about the sprays, he said, what if they activate Bill Barr? So that was where that came from, here's the Republicans when they were going to the National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then there was talk about the virus then. I love the great state of North Carolina so much that I insisted on having the Republican National Convention in Charlotte. Unfortunately, their governor's still in shutdown mood. So he was angry at the governor that he couldn't have his rally there at the time in North Carolina. Republicans are making plans to head to beautiful, that was South Carolina. I love the great state of North Carolina so much. So okay, they were making plans. They already had their plans to go to North Carolina, you see. So they were thinking about this a victory volleyball tournament that they were going to do in North Carolina on the beach there, you know. Republican coronavirus victory celebration volleyball tournament. So yeah, it's hard to do this from the book and everything there. But the thing about it is that it gives you a historical reference that things that happen today and are going on today, you can look here and get an historical reference because I've covered all the issues, the main issues of through 2020. This is the 2020 book in my series of books on the Donald J. Trump presidency, issues of the presidency. So I'm not telling you to go out and buy a whole assortment of books, but I'm saying this 2020 book really encapsulates a lot of stuff and puts it into 1 year, and it's really, I think, very interesting. And if you want to go to my website. That's Richard's, no apostrophe S, just plain Richard's Books, politicalcartoons.com, and you see all my work there and samples. Even if you don't want to buy the book, it's like a political cartoon Disney World, because you get through, you see all my videos that I've done, up the latest 3 videos, and you get to see basically all my sample cartoons from all my books. And there's a link, if you decide to buy the book, there's a link to Amazon, and you just click on and you order the book. You know, I tell you right now, it's $12.99, and I just look through it myself, and as objectively as I can be, and I say, wow. I mean, looking down as if somebody else wrote the book. So it's a great reference and a great way to educate somebody about what went on in the future for your grandchildren, for generations to come. So this is what went on in 2020. This is what we, So anyway, also, if you want to go to Twitter and you don't feel like going on my website, you could just go to Twitter. That's Bronx Cartoon, like I'm from the Bronx. Bronx Cartoonist at RJF Cartoons. The handle RJF. Bronx Cartoonist handle RJF Cartoons, and that's where I'm from, the Bronx. Used to go to Yankee Stadium as a kid. I remember, I lived when I was growing up. I lived off of Nelson Avenue in the Bronx, right off of University Avenue, and my parents used to take me to baseball games, watch the Yankees play and everything like that, and collect baseball cards. And I remember the Bronx well, and so I think of that whenever I say Bronx cartoonist. I always think back to the Bronx and where I grew up. So anyway, I like to basically, before I get into the countdown, this is a cartoon. This is like a world premiere cartoon, because it hasn't been put up on Twitter yet, and I just did it a few minutes ago. So this is like a world, as I said, a world premiere. No one else has seen this but me, who created it. But here it is, and this is something that just came up yesterday, and it might have been sparked by President Biden, who said he was going to run in 2024. So President Trump might have gotten on the wagon then and really begin to campaign in a way. It might have sparked this. Might have, no one could say. But I was thinking along those lines when I was making the cartoon. So anyway, here, this is just to give you an overall picture of the cartoon. And now we'll get to the Capitol. And what we have here is basically a rider hugging and kissing a police officer holding the American flag. And that's what President Trump said some of them did. Some rioters were very well behaved and waved their American flags and walked into the Capitol, walked out, you know, like they were taking a tour, you know. It was like they were going by tour, you know. Took buses there from some junior high school somewhere, and they were going through the tour of the Capitol, and they had flags, very patriotic, and they just walked right out, didn't do nothing, you know. And just gave a few kisses and hugs to some of the security guards. So some, he didn't say all, he said some, you know. I didn't see any, nobody reported on that one. But I took the liberty of doing this cartoon to show you what Trump might do for his campaign video when he runs in 2024 to negate the negativity from that incident of the Capitol riots. So here's what he might have had in mind, a video here where he would show the Capitol and he would show police, a rioter saying Trump 2024. You see, he's thinking ahead. This was back in January 6, 2021, but he's thinking ahead to 2024. He's very peaceful, so he's thinking political, you know, looking to the future and not looking like no trouble at all, waving his American flag there. Got his Trump Make America Great Again hat on, and there's a police officer, and he's hugging him in front of the Capitol, and it's a beautiful scene here. They got the birds flying over the Capitol. How sweet it is, you know, how sweet it is. That was Jackie Gleason used to say that. How sweet it is. And here it is. How sweet it was. You know, the birds and everything, and there's trees. Here we got the trees, the birds, the grass, and the Capitol, the American flag, and a beautiful day, flag flying, and how sweet it is, you know. There's a police officer, you know, hugging him back, he's puckering his lip to give him a kiss. You see, ready to give him a kiss with the American flag. Everybody's happy here. Birds are flying, you know. So this is the introduction to the cartoon. Okay, there we go. A future Trump 2024 campaign video downplaying the Capitol riot of January 6, 2021. Given the former president has characterized the deadly insurrection as posing, quote, zero threat. Former President Trump said yesterday it posed zero threat. A few people died there, you know, with the bear spray, but you know, what the hell, you know. You know, they must have had a prior condition that they were allergic to bear spray through a prior condition that they had that kind of proposes them to being allergic to bear spray. You know, could be. You know? And said some Capitol rioters were hugging and kissing police as they stormed the building as Congress was meeting to certify the results of the 2020 election. They were there to block that certification, and they were even they had a thing they were going to hang Vice President Pence, you know. You know, and you know, I mean, so anyway, below the video, I'm not joking about this in a way, it's serious, but I give you this as a spoonful. I would say a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and that's what I'm driving at, trying to make you laugh and think at the same time, you know. So anyway, below the video for 2024 showing a Trump supporter's affection for a police officer back then, and peacefully carrying an American flag, looking ahead to the 2024 presidential election. So here it is on that day, and he's got his Trump 2024 shirt on there with an American flag, and he's very peaceful. He's looking, well, we got to work hard for 2024. A little campaigning, we got work to do. He's just looking to go in the Capitol, kiss and hug a few policemen, and walk out. Not to do no wrong at all. So this would be the video that Trump might, former President Trump might come up with when he's running again in 2024 to negate the flack he's going to get from the Democrats or from a lot of people. Let's put it that way, for what happened there on that terrible day on January 6, 2021. So there it is. The Capitol. Trump supporter, police. He's puckering his lips to give him a kiss. That's the Trump loyal Trump protester, puckering his lips to give the policeman a nice kiss while he's waving his American flag, wearing his Trump MAGA hat in front of the Capitol, and the birds up there flying peacefully in the air. Trees playing there's the trees around the Capitol. There he goes, here comes that kiss. Okay, folks. All right, now let's get to the countdown. I have here the top 3 cartoons of the week on Twitter. Okay, here's numero 3. Now, what I did here was I took Archie Bunker and his son-in-law, Mike Stivic, brought them back looking at the TV, sitting in the living room there, looking at the TV together. They didn't have flat screens in those days, but I brought them back to this world, and as it would be, looking through a flat screen television. You know, those big boxes. You know those big boxes, and if you had to move the thing, you had to almost call a moving company to move it around. Now you just pick it up and boom, your elbow goes, and there goes the set. You know, so it's amazing how far we've come, and yet, you know, it's just amazing technologically how far we've come. So anyway, so here they are. Here's Archie Bunker and his son-in-law, Mike Stivic. And here goes the cartoon. Bringing back Archie Bunker. As Georgia Governor Brian Kemp, Republican Governor Brian Kemp, drew protests Thursday as he signed into law a sweeping Republican-sponsored overhaul of state elections that includes new restrictions on voting by mail and greater legislative control over how elections are run. So what they basically doing here is really going back to the days of Jim Crow, using the laws to really tighten up voting for black voters, for minority voters, for poor people who don't have all these ways of getting certificate that they vote. You know, perhaps they don't even have a car or driver's license or whatever, and they can't come forward with identification or whatever it is. They're making it tough. Sundays after church you can't vote. And now the thing is, they even went as far as people were out there waiting to vote. If somebody comes along and wants to give them a pizza and a Coca-Cola, it's a misdemeanor to give somebody a Coca-Cola and a pizza, you know, who was waiting online to vote. Misdemeanor, lock you up. It could be, you know, because it's against the law, because you're interfering with the election, the Georgia election. It's very, very you're really interfering with our election by giving somebody a pizza and a Coca-Cola. You know, that's we have to keep it very secure, you know. So that's really that's going beyond. That's like the outer limits, you know, the Twilight Zone. I mean, to say that, it's almost like I don't know. There's no analogy for that. I never heard of that in America. You know, I never thought I would, but now you see. So anyway, as you signed up, sweeping of state elections, it includes new restrictions on voting by mail. You know, mail-in ballots. You're going to have to like show who you are and this and that, and then it's a whole greater legislative control of how elections are run, making it a misdemeanor to give voters waiting in line to vote food or what. So that's a misdemeanor. That's like a felony. It'd probably be a felony if you ordered a whole Chinese dinner and you gave them a whole Chinese Chinese dinner with the egg roll and everything else, that could be a felony. You know, you go to jail. That could be a felony because they're talking about here you can't give them food or water. But suppose you bring them a dinner. You know, you order dinner. If you know, big dinner, big Chinese dinner or something like that, that could be a felony. You know, you got your rolls, you got your chicken chow mein, you got the rice, you got the tea. That could be a felony. That could be very serious. That's a felony, definitely. You know, if you just do water and bread, it's only a misdemeanor. You know, you get certified, you get the ticket, and you have to appear in court. You know, but if you give them a big dinner, you know, or something like that, that could be very that could be, you know. That could be a felony, you know. Have a record for the rest of your life that you gave a voter a Chinese dinner who was waiting online. That could be on your record. If you're going to go for a job in Georgia, and they could look at you and say, you got a felony here for giving a man a Chinese dinner, waiting online to vote. That could, you know, that's it for you. You can't be any professional, you know. All you can do is maybe, you know, you can't be a teacher, you can't be a doctor, you can't be or all those things. Or, you know, you might not even be able to work for the government, for not even for the sanitation department. You got a record there. You gave a Chinese dinner to somebody waiting online to vote. Very, very bad. So that's what I'm saying here, folks. I mean, you're going to take that progression, you know. So could you imagine what happens now if again the Democrats, when with all of this business, that's what my point is. Then they're going to make it even tougher, you know. You're going to make it even tougher. They're going to say, well, you know, they might start even, you know, there's no telling where that could go. So that's what I'm saying. They bring in the felonies then. They get a little tougher, start bringing in felonies, you know. So if you talk to somebody and ask them who they're going to vote for in discussion, any discussions about voting, then you get locked up. So then you're into felonies. I mean, that could happen if the Democrats win again and then say, oh, we got to get tougher. This is really we don't have enough security. We got to get some more security. You know, we got to call up the National Guard, and we have to get everybody out there to make sure nobody talks when they're waiting to vote, because talking could influence. So we got to stop. No talking. You can't talk when you're waiting online to vote. You can't talk to anybody. We got to keep silent. And if you're not silent, then it's a felony. If I'm talking about down the road, that's what we're heading towards, that direction, when they say they can't give anybody food or water. So I'm just making you think a little bit, you know. Anyway, okay, making it a misdemeanor to give voters waiting in line for food or water. Amid Democrats and voting groups saying the law will disproportionately disenfranchise voters of color. So they're saying it'll disenfranchise, take away their rights to vote. To disenfranchise basically means to take away the right to vote from people who represent them. They're disconnected, disenfranchised, disconnected from being able to exert their vote, their will of who they want to lead Georgia or whatever election in Georgia there is at the time. So here is a thing I did, a dialogue between Archie Bunker and his son-in-law Mike Stivic, watching this on TV unfold. Okay, and here goes Mike Stivic. There it is, Arch. The Republicans are going back to the Jim Crow era in the South to disenfranchise black voters. There you have it, Arch. You know, there it is, Arch. And then here's Archie sitting here. Here's Archie responding. Now, wait a minute, meathead. Ain't nobody disenfranchising any of your black voters. If they want a Georgia franchise, they are free to open a Popeye's fried chicken. So they can get a franchise from a Popeye's fried chicken place, and they're free to open up their own Popeye's franchise. So they're not disenfranchised. So it's a little game on the word franchise. It has a lot of meanings. And so there it is. That's Archie's take on that, you know. So there it is. I remember watching this Saturday. I think it was on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock, and after After All in the Family, you had your Mary Tyler Moore show coming right on at 9 o'clock. Those are two shows I always used to watch, Mary Tyler Moore and All in the Family on Saturday nights. At 9 o'clock was Mary Tyler Moore, and that was an interesting contrast to see, to watch Mary Tyler Moore after watching Archie Bunker. It was really an interesting night of television there for a couple of hours. Okay. All right. Now, here it comes. Here comes numero dos de la semana, number 2 of the week. Every week I say to myself, I think I'm going to be out of business next week. Nothing else can happen. What could possibly happen? I say that every week. And then sure enough, boom, it falls right in my plate. And there it is. And here this is. Here is Sidney Powell, Republican attorney Sidney Powell. Conservative, very conservative lady, yes. There she is. Thumbs up. Okay. Attorney Sidney Powell, who had led former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory. She was really pushing hard for President Trump, really, to really take some to really do some stuff, to declare, she wanted him to declare some kind of a martial law. I don't know how true that is. Now, I don't want to say anything that may not be true, but she wanted him to declare some sort of a declaration to redo the election of some kind. I mean, she was really pushing this thing hard. You know, former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn Joe Biden's victory tells federal court that no reasonable person, now this is her defense, because she's being sued by Dominion, because she's made all these allegations against Dominion, saying Dominion was tampering with the votes, and they did this and that with machines and all this business. All these unproven allegations that had totally unfounded. And all the investigators looked at it, and everybody went through it. Totally unfounded. Totally unfounded. And she cannot claim she had evidence and this and that. So had no reasonable person would conclude her unfounded claims of voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election were statements of facts. So nobody would believe, nobody would conclude that I was speaking the truth when no rational person would believe that I was speaking the truth. So that means, and if you analyze that, it means that she knew who she was speaking to. She was talking to people who were not rational, and she wanted people who were not rational to react to her verbiage or her positions here on the election. So that means that she wanted to speak to the irrational, if you look at it that way, because no rational person would ever take me seriously, It doesn't need a cartoon, it's almost a cartoon unto itself. Okay, would include her unfounded claims of voter fraud in the 2020 presidential election were statements of facts. Nobody would think it was factual, what I said. Anybody who had at least a little tiny brain here, wouldn't think it was factual. Amid she fights a $1.3 billion defamation lawsuit from Dominion Voting Systems. $1.3 billion lawsuit. Boy, that's going to cut into a lot of her trips and everything like that. The lawsuit. Below, Powell arguing Dominion's case against her should be dismissed. Now, she argues this following her attorneys who launched the argument, and she's following up on her attorneys who presented this legal argument. Okay? Here she is. with a thumbs up. Here she goes. It was clear to reasonable persons that my statements, my opinions, and theories, like my theory that President Abraham Lincoln died from his wife Mary's turtle soup, and that when they got to the Ford's Theater, he just passed away from the turtle soup. It had nothing to do with a bullet going into his head or nothing like that from John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater. It had nothing to do with it. He was dead before John Wilkes Booth fired the bullet, because Mary gave the turtle soup had too much acid in it for her stomach, and it created a heart condition and whatever. So that's like her saying that. Now everybody knows that John Wilkes Booth killed Lincoln at the Ford's Theater on that day in April 15th, 1865. And also the fact of the matter is, this I happen to look up. He had a big dinner that night. He did have turtle soup, So I try to put everything in, make it there's some boundaries here. He did have turtle soup for dinner before he went to the Ford's Theater that night, that tragic night when he was shot. And this was at the conclusion. This is after the war was won, the Revolutionary War. The Civil War, there I go again, the Civil War, caught myself in that one. The Revolutionary War, George Washington. The Civil War was ended. It was about, this is again 1865, so the war started I think about 1861 or so, over Fort Sumter. I got my history right. The Civil War, folks. Okay, so it just ended, and he was probably in a relaxed mood and everything. And so there you have it, And the thing about it was, while the war was going on, he had high security and everything like that, and they followed him. But after the war, they relaxed it, I guess, and this was the end result. It's hard to imagine them letting him sit there watching a play in a theater with anybody could walk in there like that. It's almost like what happened with the Capitol. People walked into the Capitol that day, and here we are. You know what I'm saying here? So you can't let your guard down in this world we're living in, unfortunately so. So anyway, there it is. I really don't know how she can launch an argument to say, she's an attorney, you see, and she's representing people as an attorney. So how can she then go out and call herself an attorney and hire people and then say to yourself, well, I'm going to make you only people don't, it's only going to be for people who really are not rational. I'm going to try to convince irrational people that you're innocent. I don't know. It's like alternative facts, but to another degree. If you say they're alternative facts, you say I believe in the alternative. That was Trump's press secretary who brought in alternative facts, saying that, well, it's not factual, it's alternative to the truth. Okay, you could believe it or not, but it's alternative to the truth. Here you're taking it to another level. You're saying basically that if you believe my alternative facts, then you're irrational. So it's another bridge forward. Okay, here, and here's his numero uno de la semana. Again, here we have the new stars of the Republican Party, according to the rising stars of the Republican Party. Like a 20th Century Fox, they used to have the rising stars, and they show people going up in the business, rising stars. And here's the rising stars of the Republican Party. Okay. Former President Trump touts Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Josh Hawley as basically rising stars in the Republican Party. Below Cruz at CPAC, calling mask ordinances at restaurants dumb, quote, dumb. That's what Senator Cruz says, that it's basically theatrics and dumb to have masks at restaurants and to have certain procedures and guidelines. And Hawley fist pumping the crowds outside the Capitol on January 6th before they breached the building, okay? And this is March 23rd, today, that was when this was done. Today, Cruz called it ridiculous theater when lawmakers proposed gun legislation in the wake of what happened there, that latest shooting, you know. So so here you have that. The latest mass shooting in that supermarket, you know, in Colorado. People just going out, doing shopping, getting a salami sandwich, and waiting online, and boom, that's it. You know, it's just I don't know what to say. You know, every time you go in a shop, you have to look for the emergency exit signs when you go shopping now, to see how to get the heck out of there. You know, I don't know what to say. Anyway, so Cruz basically, so President Trump here is asserting that these are rising stars of the Republican Party, obviously saying that someday, if after he runs for a second term, following his second term, these two could be presidential nominees of the Republican Party following President Trump's second term. You know, or he might retire Pence. I can't see President Trump now picking Pence as his vice president after Pence went along and followed the Constitution, and he basically authorized and confirmed the voting, the Electoral College votes. He did authorize that with his signature. He didn't have the power to do it. Actually, he didn't have the power to object to it, but President Trump felt he should have gone beyond the constitutional limits and shown his loyalty, and he didn't do that and refused to sign that and sanction it. He went ahead and signed it, so I don't think President Trump is going to pick Vice President Pence for his vice president anymore. I don't think that's in the cards for Vice President Pence. I think he knows that too. So I think one of these two guys now, he'll have will get the blessing from President Trump in 2028 after President Trump he's finished with his second term in 2028. And then we have either Ted Cruz, maybe it could be a ticket here. We'll have Ted Cruz for president and this guy for vice president, Hawley for vice president, you know. And every time Cruz says something, Hawley could raise his fist and say, you better listen to me, listen to this man, you know. So that'd be a nice combination ticket for the Republicans in 2028. You have Cruz-Hawley ticket, you know. So that was it basically. This cartoon was spurred by the fact of really what triggered this was Cruz calling it ridiculous theater for lawmakers to try to control weapons like the AR-15, I think it is. These assault weapons that are sold like they're sold like water pistols out there, you know. You go in, you get it, you know, and it's, who needs an AR-15 to protect themselves? And they're going to take away our guns. They're not taking away the guns. You know, I myself did own a gun at one time. I made the decision to get rid of it, but I did own a gun at one time. And it wasn't a big thing. It was just I think it was a 36 revolver Smith & Wesson I had, and I said, no way. So one night, I was parking my car, getting out of my car, and then this guy, I think was drunk. He was walking down the street. I didn't know what the heck he was going to do, and I reached for my gun, and I was ready because I didn't know what the hell this guy was going to do, and he was coming towards me, and then I was ready, and luckily the guy walked away, and I said, holy smokes, that could be just a drunk or a homeless person, and if he came over my window, I might have shot him. I said, I'm getting rid of this gun, you know. And I got rid of it. I said, that's it for me. And then there was another time. That was the first thing that happened. Then there was another time when I was coming back from. I think I was out there jogging or something, and I was coming back, and I walked by the washroom, and I found a girl trembling, and she said I was just held up at gunpoint by somebody, and then I had my gun ready to go, and then I would have instinctively, I know for sure, if I saw somebody being held up, right, a girl, I would have taken my gun out, and it would have been like a showdown at the OK Corral. I know I would have stood in there. So we're not meant to be policemen either. But the thing is, the AR-15 for people who want guns, that's another story. But the AR-15 is an assault weapon. It's a combat weapon. You know, we're not protecting our homes from armies. Nobody's going to come into your home. No army's going to invade your home where you're going to have to fight like a military battle. That ain't going to happen. You know. So I'm just saying to you that when he said, call it ridiculous theater, proposed gun legislation, which would mean taking away these assault rifles, military-like white rifles. Nobody there, there was no wounded because the weapons are so lethal that everybody who got shot died. So when you take away those things, it's not taking away guns. It's taking away tanks from people. You know, you're taking away bazookas. You know, as a kid, we used to play with soldiers, and we'd have the bazooka. That's you're taking away bazookas from people. You know, you're not taking away guns from people. You're taking away bazookas. You know, it's amazing how these terms come back. I remember those toy soldiers I used to play with when I was a kid. Anyway, folks, this was the last thing here. This was Josh Hawley. This is when he was at the Capitol raising his fist. There, kind of just edging on. Well, he was just basically fist pumping. The protest is there, and here's Ted Cruz at CPAC. Here he was at CPAC, and this is when he was at CPAC. He did condemn the laws on face masks, the rules that restaurants were trying to put into effect on wearing face masks. So there it is here. That's the two rising stars, according to President Trump, in the Republican Party. And this is what they're doing now with the voting, trying to restrict voting in, so say around 40 states, is to pave the way for these people to be elected as your national leaders. When you look at it, you analyze the progression, that's what it is. They're going to pave the way for these folks to assume the leadership of the United States. You know, President Trump is not going to live forever. You know, unfortunately for so many people, it's too bad. But you know, I'm just saying, nobody lives forever. You know, even Frank Sinatra didn't live forever. You know, nobody's going to live forever. So there'll be a time when the Republicans will have leaders like this. They want to get into higher office, and this is what they're laying the foundation for. Is what this is all about, all these laws, these voting restrictions, you know. I don't think too many black voters are going to vote for Ted Cruz or Josh Hawley, you know. So got to keep them home, got to keep them away from the polls, got to make those laws, you know. No. So that's it. All right, anyway, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching my video today. And I wish you all the best, and hang in there, stay well, and keep eating good, and getting enough sleep, and getting your exercise in. And I just wish you all the best. And until next time, God bless you, and God bless America. Take care, folks. Till next time, bye.